What is going on, all-terrain nation? Whether it be two-wheel drive,
four-wheel drive.
Does it really matter what you drive, Allie? Well, don't ask Allie. She's going to say Ford. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's 2025.
Wait, it is?
I think so. Allie's under the weather. Puppers is in the house. We've got a special guest, Miss Sarah Davis. You guys, if you know my channel, you know who we're about
your
to bring
channel
on.
Now, huh? Just your channel?
Well, it started out that way, and just like the Broncos started out as mine too. And
well, this is awkward.
But I hope everybody's having a fantastic 2025. Ours has started out pretty good. No complaints so far. We took, I about said Rebecca. We took Ghost out.
Yeah.
And I think in Peugeot or somebody gave us some hell about that. It was like, oh, really? That was some real extreme wheeling. I was like,
we weren't planning on extreme.
Yeah, we were just back roads basically, just like, let's just go do something. And our friends took us
I
out
did take some more difficult lines than other people were taking.
It's like nothing.
It was Sydney actually asked that. She was like, why are you doing that, Mom? Just go that way. I was like, no, because I can go that way. Yeah. And why not?
Speed bumps.
Yeah.
But I hope everybody once again is having a fantastic start to their holiday. Well, holiday. Geez, well, I don't even know.
We have already passed the holidays, sir.
I haven't done this in a month.
Done with holidays.
I haven't done this in a month. But Allie, how's things in Michigan, man? Snowy, I hope.
Yeah, we finally got snow. I mean, we didn't get as much as down south, but
yeah,
we have some finally. Maya's been out every 5 seconds, so it's
I was gonna say Maya living her best life. She's like, Mom, I gotta go out now.
I'm like, that's what I keep telling myself. I'm like, listen, like she probably won't be around next year.
Right.
So I'm like, just suck it up, just go outside.
Hey, you didn't think she was going to be around this far.
That's
and
true.
She's really proving you wrong.
She's proven all of her vets wrong as well, because she just had because now we're to the point where we have to do like more neuro checks just to make sure. Yeah. I mean, she's a husky, so is she really all there? I don't think so.
Just in general.
It's just the breed. Look it up. Like, they're all just crazy. But we just walked into our on the second we walked into it. And he's like, you shouldn't be here. I'm like, well, she's not here.
I don't know what to tell you. She's here.
Yeah. I'm like, she's doing okay. Like, she's declined a little bit, but she's still wagging her tail, eating, drinking. So we just kind of.
Well, we had a puppy scare. So over our holidays, ours just stopped eating and started throwing up everywhere. Just couldn't keep anything in him. He would literally, food is his most favorite thing ever.
Oh my gosh. And pizza is his favorite.
Yeah. And he would walk by his bowl and you would see the human look of him of disgust of like, I can't do this. And he got to where we had to pick him up. Like he had no energy to do something. And finally nursed him back with some chicken broth. He would drink water. So I just started putting a little bit of chicken broth in his water to get something in him. And now he's back to being his goofy self.
Pedialyte and pumpkin.
But he didn't eat for 4 days.
Yeah. He wouldn't even eat like a piece of bread that fell on the floor. And now he's like making up for it. He's walking all around the house, putting his nose to the floor and being like, where can you drop?
He's always gone in phases to where like, but I've looked it up and I guess it's more of like a husky thing where like she legit will not eat for a week.
Wow.
And then she eats like everything.
Oh, this one never not eats for a week.
Yeah,
never.
He doesn't miss an hour.
No, he doesn't miss an hour of looking for crumbs.
But that's Puppy Nation. That's our different channel.
Yeah.
That's our different channel.
No, there is not another channel. We don't have space for it.
I have to say, we I'm going to bring this up because I just thought of this. But so Kelly, we found out Rebecca. We told everybody last time we'd heard, or I've posted on social media that Rebecca the Bronco was around.
Yeah,
actually, literally around us, and I was like, how did we go from Illinois to basically Nashville? And well, I found her today. Let me pull this picture up because this was, we thought.
Now, is it at the dealer that you don't like?
No.
This is actually at a dealer.
I would buy from Tony Bates.
Because I'm like, wait, this would be even funnier if they bought back that Bronco.
Oh yeah.
Oh, trust me.
So this is at a semi-local dealership, and this was me today, freezing my ass off doing this. But yeah. So there's Rebecca the Bronco, and they didn't. Nobody's taken off the graphics. The only thing
touched her.
We saw where they put a badge on the rear of it. They didn't, but Laura's dealership did, and then this one peeled it off, and they kind of tore the vinyl a little bit.
Of the
but
vinyl off.
I was like, holy hell. So I put a challenge out there, but I put it on social media. I was like, if we can raise $40,000 in super chats tonight, I'll go buy it. I'll go get it again. And Scott has come up like a man. Look at this. Like a man. Scott brought that $10 out there. But here's the challenge. If you want to do any, I mean, obviously we're not going to get 40,000, maybe 30. But we won't make the 40.
Gosh.
But if you want to do any super chats tonight, here's what I challenge you to do. Do it in memberships. So you can donate memberships in the chat over there when you do your super chats, and they get to see behind the scenes. You're not just donating money to the channel. It gives random people in the chat, it gives them membership for a month. You paid for a membership of that. And then they get to see what we do behind the scenes a little bit, because Patreon gets its own thing, but that doesn't do this. But I do over memberships here. You get early access to videos. I do special stuff that we do over on this side as well. So I think it'd be a fun way to, if I don't ask for money, but if you want to donate that way, do it in the memberships, donate memberships. So thank you, Scott, for that $10. We greatly appreciate that. And Kelly, we're back.
We're back.
We are back. And cheers.
We're here.
5. But
25.
yeah.
You didn't even take a sip.
I'll do more than a sip.
I was
But
gonna say
anyways,
you don't cheers and then set it back down.
I know,
Sir.
bad. I'm in love with this Russell's, by the way. Everybody in the chat, my whiskey friends. I've went on a bender of whiskey, Kelly.
Not a bender of like drinking.
Well, not drinking, but buying.
But buying.
I think over the
It's
holidays,
ridiculous.
I probably spent $500
Yeah, we're not even talking about it.
in new bottles of
I haven't
of
looked at the-
whiskey. Look, Rob Hallmark did it. Look at that.
Yay,
Look
looky
at that.
there.
He donated. Now, I don't know who got it, but somebody got a membership. So I
Very
greatly
cool.
appreciate it.
Looks like it's Hypermotive Racing.
Oh, well, there you go. So now you get to see behind the scenes. And when you do that, I'm not sure how it chooses, but it just randomly chooses.
I'm
people.
reading YouTube.
Yeah, who dat? Who dat? All right, so we've got to bring in the special guest.
Minimize your screen.
I'm going. I mean, you don't want to see Rebecca up there any longer. I see.
No, I miss her, but
I know, but we got a special guest tonight. You guys, if you're fans of the Wizard of Oz, you might know this lady, because they're out in the middle of Oz. They are the best, and I mean this. They are the best. I found another Ford dealership early on that I used to follow, and they've been on a few times, but this by far is the best dealership, because they're just honest with their customers. If they have to, hey, this one, we charge more on this one, they're just upfront about it. Like,
Yeah.
This is how we play. We don't hide it at the end. Service department is the best out there. Well, I mean, it's in Kansas, so it's probably the only one out there. I kid.
Stop.
Oh my god.
But her dad is one of my favorite people of all time.
Yes.
Kelly, who we got coming in here?
we have Sarah Davis.
That's right. With Long
Right.
McArthur Ford, and she's got her own thing going on now.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
All Women Drive.
Yes. All women driven.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm sorry. All Women Driven. My apologies.
Sorry, Lori. You're the best in Illinois. Sorry. But Sarah, welcome to the show. Your dad's been on many times, but I've threatened to have you on many times, and just for whatever reason, not forget, like in a rude way,
You
but just
threaten. Make it sound like she's like signing up for the gauntlet.
I'm
or
threatening
something.
our audience because she's such a badass.
Usually my Monday nights are filled with getting kids to bed, so I'm not usually on live.
So if we just see you randomly take off somewhere, we know what's going on.
The husband's got the kids tonight.
There you go. You
there
tagged him
go.
in. There you go.
But Sarah, welcome to the show, by the way.
And your mom in the chat says hi.
Yep,
Yes.
I love Barb.
I know.
Barb's awesome.
First off, and I know Allie's going to want to know this. Sarah, will we see you at Supercell East this year?
Probably not.
Well, that was Sarah Davis, everybody. Good to see her.
We saw her at SEMA. We
We did. We got the big group picture. Allie wasn't there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Allie's gonna miss
unfortunately,
out.
I don't own a Bronco.
I don't care.
Well,
Let's-
yes, but
Why
it's
not?
hard to take time off at the same time as dad.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Someone has to hold down the fort, and that's his vacation time, and it would be like vacation time for me. It would be a work trip.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it would be hard for both of us to be away and still getting work done. But one of these years, I do plan to make it. It's just,
So you've not been to the East one yet, right?
I've only
Okay.
been to West.
I know your dad brags about he likes the East. I was listening to a video the other day where it's more about the community, the collective people. I mean, each one is definitely special, and Allie knows this, but each one is special for different reasons. But to me, I like East because of all of our friends are there.
Well, and it was the OG for us too.
Yeah.
So,
But I touched on that in my interview with Melissa.
I heard that.
We like, East for the community and the talking and and then West for the off-roading.
I will have to 100% agree now that I've been out there finally. It's nothing compares to it. It's so
you barely like you have community on the trail, but then when you go back, by the time you get back from your trail ride, everyone's headed out for dinner. So there's like no time to chat at the show.
Yeah.
Well, at Tennessee, there's a lot of time to chat at the show.
Hypermotive Racing, thank you for
There you
donating those 5
go.
memberships, man. We greatly appreciate that. That is a big deal. So Sarah, a little background on you. I mean, we know you from, or I especially, because I've watched you guys for well over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
What is your background? What led you to be in the automotive world?
Well, of course, my dad is at a dealership, and so I actually grew up. My uncle is the GM of Long McArthur. My other uncle, both of my mom's brothers, he's a salesman. My dad's in sales, or was in sales. He's now in charge of what he does. So I kind of grew up in the automotive world. My great grandfather is he owned a dealership. So it's just in the family to be at a dealership, kind of. But I started at 16 in our detail department, our wash line. And I was there.
That was my first job, detailing cars.
So
it's a great first job. You get to drive cool cars, but also clean them. So.
That's right.
So I worked there for off and on for 4 years in the detail part-time. My husband was actually my manager back there.
How fun.
Well, that sounds scandalous.
He was with someone else when I worked back there, but then I left for college, came back, and that's when we started dating. And then I've worked in the rental department. I've worked in our cashier for the service department, so I know how all of that works and that side of things. I also know how our parts department works because of that. And then I was at an inn that needed to renovate and be closed down for 4 months right after I got married. And they were like, my dad's like, hey, I need someone to come picture. I'm like, I got you. I knew nothing about photography, but yes, I'll come picture for you. So I did that for 2 years and then left when I was after maternity leave with my first son. And I started doing the cold calls for our call center.
Your mom.
Look at Sarah's face turning red. That's awesome. Way to go, Barb.
Anyways, I was doing our cold calls and really wasn't happy. I was looking for something else. And then my dad's like, hey, I need an assistant to help me edit videos and get more done. Do you want to join me? And then that's led to, being his co-host, and now what I'm doing now with my own podcast and helping him with his videos.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And would you 5-7 years ago, would you have ever thought you have your own podcast now?
No, never. I wouldn't even believe I was in the automotive world.
Isn't that funny?
I feel that.
Yeah. 8 years ago, I was 10 years ago, I was about to graduate, and I thought I was going to become an athletic trainer. Did not pan out at all. And even after that, I did not think I would still be in the automotive world now.
Clearly, you seem to like it, though, now.
I love it. After being here for so long, and I do have so much knowledge from growing up in the sales business. I do have a lot of background in sales, and I know a lot about it. And now I'm a product specialist and I do all of these other things. I absolutely love it. And I couldn't imagine being anywhere else.
That's awesome.
So recently, I guess last year was really when you started doing the shows with your dad, right? Like you guys started trying to go out and figure out some stuff. What has been the plus for you as a dealership in the middle? I hate to say middle of nowhere, but middle of Kansas. Like you guys are pretty on your own island out there, but going to see some of how the chicken's cooked, as it were, to see the PR people and stuff, to go into this. How have you enjoyed that part of this?
I love it. It's a lot different. It's really cool to see how things come about. The time that we were in Chicago and we got the walk around on the Mustang, the Dark Horse, we got the walk around on it. that was me. He was like, hey, I kind of want to walk around on this. Oh, he's doing walk arounds for people. I'm like, well, let's ask. He's like, they all look busy. I'm like, no, we're asking.
Sounds like
And
Dave.
so I made it happen. I was like, okay, no, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
That's awesome.
So it's kind of fun to make the connections, to see the things. I got to see, what's his name? Malcolm in the Middle. Who's that star?
The race car driver now.
Race car driver now. Like he was my childhood crush.
Did you go up to him and say yes, no, maybe?
No, I actually don't like to do that to people. I don't like to go up and like fangirl.
Yeah.
If I have something to say to them, like, hey, I really love your racing or anything like that, yeah, I'll go up and say that. But I don't go and fangirl. I don't do that. If I don't have a reason to approach, I won't.
Yeah.
I
understand. I was in the music business.
Them bombarded by everyone.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be the next person to do it.
Yeah, no, I used to treat people in the music business. I sold Brooks and Dunn all these guitars, and they would come in and buy stuff from me. I just treat them like a normal person. Like they get tired of people, like, you know.
Yeah.
Especially like Frankie's been back in the spotlight with racing. You know, he's a part of Ford's race teams now, and like really making a name for himself that way, which is cool.
Yeah.
So,
but I never thought I would ever see him in person, and so doing these other shows and going to these things has opened up doors for us, and it's a lot of fun to see that happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so and I know your dad's in here, so I'm going to embarrass him a little bit. No, but did you ever see that for your dad? Did you ever see like, oh, dad's going to take on YouTube and like become, you know, your dad's within the Ford community is a pretty well-known name now.
He is. So when I was in high school, so he started this in 2015, his YouTube channel.
Me too.
That's like the oldest video. I was graduating high school.
Yeah.
So I always grew up like I was like, oh, Facebook, all my friends had it. He comes in and goes, I'm Facebook certified. I have a certification in Facebook. I'm like, I barely know how to
I'm
use
legit.
Yeah. So like my dad knows how to use these social media platforms way better than I do, and I'm the high schooler. It was kind of flipped in our household that my dad knew more than us. And so then him starting the YouTube videos, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah. And then it's just grown from there. I didn't think it would grow this much. He didn't think it would grow this much, but I know like my brother has friends that are like, your dad has how many followers? It's kind of crazy to believe.
Yeah, that is awesome. And then it seemed to rub off on you, and you've started like I said, your own podcast, but you are on YouTube with it. I know you're on Spotify. Yeah. I'm assuming Apple down the road, something like that.
Yeah, I plan to spread it through all the different platforms eventually.
So it's called All Women Driven. Now I'm not a woman, but I did watch. Like, I know there's a target audience that you're looking for, but as a dude, I did check it out the other day.
You're a dude? What?
I know. No, I kid that. But I really enjoyed it. You were very good with your interviews where I like to interrupt people. You were very patient, and I know my flaws. But you were very patient, and you had Melissa with Melissa, right? I can never remember.
Melissa Clark.
Yeah, Melissa Clark, who Allie and Kelly know because of Off Rodeo. Y'all, was she at the ladies Off Rodeo days?
No.
She does Rebel Rally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think back now. Now I know that I've like known Melissa for so long. Now I'm trying to pinpoint
where you met her,
where origination was. Yeah.
But it was a really good interview, and I mean, of course, it's nice too. You're the first person you have on there. Definitely, she knows how to publicly speak. That's a big one, because I've had people that I got excited to have on shows before, and you're like, like in person they will talk to you and be great, but something about you put a camera in front of them.
Well, I think it's a little bit of stage fright, essentially, is what it is.
But she did an excellent job. And so, kind of, what is the purpose of this podcast? I mean, I think I can tell from the name, but describe it to us. Yeah,
so it's all women driven. If you didn't know, shortened down, it's AWD, all wheel drive.
Yeah,
nice.
Absolutely love it. That took a while to come up with, but we finally did. But yes, all women driven. Basically, I came up with this thought when I was I've always had this thought, how did that photographer, because I've looked at photographers, how did that photographer get where he's at? Why does he get to be down in the pits? Why does he get to be on the railing where they're like, oh no, you can't go down there for safety reasons, but that guy can. How did he get to that point? And so I took that to the women standing. How do these women in automotive, how did they get there? How did Melissa get to where she's at today? What was her background? Was she always in automotive? So I really want to explore that and see what steps did they take? Did they go to college? Really, what is the background to these women getting to where they are successfully in automotive today? Because they're not, women in automotive is getting more and more familiar, but it hasn't always been that way, especially growing up.
Yeah.
In the automotive world, there were like no women at the dealership. It was all men. Besides our internet department, that's where, women started to infiltrate, I felt like.
Right.
But it was, it's kind of cool to explore that past with people and see how these women have gotten to their points.
Right.
So I am excited to explore it further with others as well. Like you, Kelly, I want to have you on an alley.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hear your guys' stories.
I think so. I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool to get like women's take on it because again, being a woman in the automotive, it's a very male-driven like space. And I actually had this conversation with our media girl today. Like it's just so crazy because like we learned about like we're kind of talking about like communication differences of like how you have to approach some things.
Yeah.
Because it can be taken way different, but
yeah. But I'm excited to see this and see how I can inspire other women to approach the automotive community because we do need more women in the automotive world.
Absolutely.
Like Ford said with their commercial, if Ford didn't help build the cars, what would we have?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and I put a link in description. I'll do it a couple more times, but you got 16 subscribers right now. The other day when I saw the first one, I think you had 5, and I swear I subbed. And then when I linked this up, it was like I didn't sub, so I had
You
to
didn't
sub.
put the link in there.
Up to 18.
They're not okay. I'll put the link. Sorry, I
Yeah.
dropped the there. But let's get Sarah going on here, guys. And you don't have to be a lady, I think, to enjoy this podcast because I didn't know it. I knew of Melissa, but I really didn't know her background. And it was interesting to hear how she was just from Indiana and she just kind of wanted
a local girl.
Yeah, she wanted a Jeep and got a Jeep, and then life changed and she got rid of it and then desired that Jeep back and then got with Ford and how that's changed her in the Rebel Rally and stuff. So it was definitely some good stuff there.
Yeah.
So I challenge everybody watching this, whenever you watch it, just go ahead and subscribe. And I'll put it in the description as well. Go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome because I definitely, to your point, Sarah and Allie, it's very men driven. And it's good to see all women driven kind of coming out and driving that force, and no pun intended with those things, but it works out, I guess. But yeah, to your point, it's a great concept because as soon as you were explaining to us tonight what kind of drove you to do this was because I tell Dave all the time, Dave's like, well, just do some, do this or do that. It was like, but I like how to.
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
I'm a recipe person and I am also a give me the instruction booklet. Many of you know that Dave doesn't follow the instructions and I do. And so to hear how other people got there, like that's awesome. So I can't wait to hear all the ladies, the amazing ladies that you get on the show.
Oh, we got 23
Yay,
now.
there's 23 so far. So can you, and if you can't, that's okay. Any spoilers on who you have coming up besides obviously Allie and I will be on there at some point?
Yeah. So tomorrow, actually, I'm interviewing our media, head of media, and I'm not really sure what her title is. But she is in charge of commercials, events, event coordinator.
Cool.
She does all of that. She's one of the daughters of the owners of our dealership.
Awesome.
But she handles all of that. So I'm really excited to hear her story. I mean, I've grown up there at the dealership. I've seen her kind of grow up. But it'll be really cool because I know she went to college. And she's done some things. So that's tomorrow. and it'll be posted next Thursday. I have Melissa's partner from this past year. She has said that she will do one. I just have to sell time to interview her.
Sure.
And then we'll see.
Some more in the bucket, folks. So
Yeah, I actually, I was talking to one of the assistants at work, and I was like, "Oh yeah, Rebel Rally, Melissa Clark," and he's like, "Did you say Rebel?" Yes. He's like, "My aunt's in Rebel. She does it.
Very
for
cool.
like 3 years." I'm like, "Dude, I've been talking about Rebel for like a year and a half now. How's this not come up with us?"
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So in fact, his dad's a salesman.
Oh.
So it'll be interesting. She said that she would do it as well. So I don't know if she'll be in person or online, but
That's
yeah.
very cool. I'm super excited to hear more of who you get in and listening or talking.
Yeah, definitely. And here's the link in the chat as well to the Instagram page on that. So you definitely got to follow all the socials now. That's by law. You have to. If you follow one, you have to follow every one of them.
It's kind of like I was setting everything up. I'm like, man, how many accounts am I setting up here? Like,
It's a lot.
Well, it's a shame. Like, you have to have these brands. If like Ford or whoever wants to talk to you at some point, you got to have. They want to see this wide access to this wide range of people. So definitely that, and that's why I think people may not understand at times. That's why people are always like, "Hey, hit the socials, like all this stuff." It's to keep access or gain more access. That's like I love Instagram. If I could only do Instagram, I'd be happy. Like Facebook would have been gone years ago.
And I'm the opposite.
But I just want to post my picture, my little clip, and be done.
Right.
But you don't like reels. How's that work?
Well, I'm growing more fond of cat reels. Cat reels are great.
No. Tell everybody what's your favorite.
Oh, these little spiders. Those little jumping spiders, man. And this one lady does. I can't remember the name of it, but they do voices with them, and they're like talking, and it's hilarious.
He literally sits there, and I know the voice when it comes up. And I said, "Really? You didn't get enough of your spiders today?" He's like, "I didn't have time to watch my spiders today." And I'm like, "This is ridiculous."
Well, it used to be, remember Bama Bass? When we used to share this office space, I got hooked on this guy built a 5-acre pond, and he would do like every 3 weeks, he would do updates, and he named these fish that were in this, like, it was hilarious. And I had to quit that though. That needed the baby eagles.
Yes, he watched the baby eagles grow and hatch and all the things. It was he gets a little obsessive. Sorry, that's a little marital nation for you.
So Sarah, I know you're at a Ford dealership, but your dad may not like this question. What is if it's not a Ford, what is your favorite? What would be the other vehicle that would sway you from Ford?
I haven't actually.
She probably hasn't been able to.
Well, they get used cars at times, I'm assuming.
So I had a Camry Toyota. That was my first car, a 96.
Ooh. And
it was owned by Steve Hawley, the astronaut.
Okay.
That's very
So it's been to the moon.
He's actually from Kansas, so he's been up in space and everything. Anyway, so I would say maybe Toyota, or we've thought about a van.
Yeah.
Kids and everything, but Ford doesn't really have a van, so I'd have to look somewhere else for that.
The full-size Bronco acts like a van.
You got a visitor, I see.
Yeah. They just wanted to say hi to Grandma and Grandpa too.
Hi.
Hi, buddy.
Will.
Hi, Will.
My oldest.
I like your monster truck.
That's right, car in hand.
It looks like a dinosaur in his mouth.
Yeah.
So there's no fun vehicles out there. It's just practical mom, dad vehicles right now that would draw you away from Ford.
Yeah.
David's survival mode as a mom,
so
especially of small children.
So I help with the picture building still. And one of the things that we have to do is we have to pull the vehicle into the building, and it has to be perfectly centered on the turntable. Ford has the best backup camera. Of all the vehicles I've driven, new, used, and we even get used luxury that are like 2024s with 2,000 miles on them. Ford and Lincoln have the best backup cameras.
We just took in a 2024 Silverado, and it was a higher trim level, Hated the backup camera.
Absolutely hate it. And that's
Absolutely
probably
hated
one reason why I will never switch away from Ford or Lincoln is because of those backup cameras. I love them too much.
Yeah, the Jeep products, the one that I've seen that seems to be the best.
So on Fords, they are really, really good. They're really, really good about getting that line perfectly centered.
Mhm.
Even if the camera's off center, they somehow have it figured out so that it's perfectly centered. It is the only brand besides Lincoln that you can perfectly center on our table based off of the backup camera alone.
That's cool.
I would definitely say he doesn't use the backup camera in the Bronco as much as I do.
I'm old school. I don't trust it's that if my eyes aren't actually seeing it in a reflection.
But I think for me, there's too many blind spots that aren't shown, aren't shown without the camera. So for me, that's why I use the backup camera so much, because I trust that more than I trust a pillar in my way or things like that. But I will say I've gotten quite spoiled with the sensors of telling me that something is coming, but it also will freak you out if you know that something's coming, but it's okay and it's not coming that fast, or you're backing into a parking spot that backs up to a road or something, you know, that type of thing. And you're like, what am I hitting? Oh, I'm not. It's just coming in back here, you know, things like that. So
yeah.
But I definitely, I'm a big fan of the backup for sure.
I love that he's peeking over the chair.
That's awesome.
He's
So
cute.
so with you guys at Long McArthur, you know, I've seen you over the past year or so really getting in there with your dad. I remember it just used to be kind of your dad doing it, and you slowly. Was that nervous for you to kind of jump in on that? And because Kelly initially, she used to be like, I don't have anything to say. And I'm like, you have your own things to say that I don't think of.
But he does cut me off a lot, so I don't
Well,
have
anyways,
to say a lot.
So during COVID, I actually was selling makeup through live stream and videos on Facebook.
Nice.
And so I did, that wasn't a lot, but it gave me enough courage and enough ability to be able to then go and do the live streams. And we started off slow with the member videos and like, hey, we have a guest. Okay, sir, you gotta get up.
Hey, buddy.
He's like, but Grandpa said hi. I can't read it yet, but I know he said hi.
I think he's adorable.
Yeah.
He is. He's just distracting me.
So you did the makeup thing and you
Yeah.
had guests and things like that.
Yeah, but he's just like, hey, we have a special guest. Here's Sarah for our member live. And then they wanted to see me on the live stream because he had talked about me helping and whatnot. And so then I did one, and it just spiraled into being there every week.
That's awesome.
So what's the worst part about doing it? Because you seem to do a lot of prep. You guys, like,
Yeah.
I can BS my way through a lot of this, but you guys seem to do prep.
Tim does prep. I do not.
You just fly by the seat of your pants.
I do. Literally. So he does, he's the one doing all the segments throughout it. So he's doing all the prep for that. I have done one episode where I did all the prep, and it was a lot of work. Especially when I felt like I didn't get a lot of views during that video, or a lot of people liking it. A lot of people left early and whatnot. Once we got through the main segments. But he does most of it. He truly does. He, figures out the scheduling notes, the dealer news. He has all of that. And then he figures out the segment each week. Sometimes we'll be bouncing ideas off of each other, and I'll give him the idea for that week. But he truly is the one that does the research and the prep for it all. And then he comes in, and what you can actually see when he's talking about some of the stuff. I'm like, wait, really? Like, that is true reaction. Like, I had no idea about this until that very moment. So it kind of makes my reactions more real. But sometimes there is times where he's like, hey, by the way, I'm going to be talking about this. I need you to be listening so that you can react.
Yeah.
Because I am in the chat, I'm talking in there, and I'm doing a lot of stuff there. So a lot of times I'm not listening to him.
Yeah. I understand. I understand how that works.
For a daughter not to listen to their father.
There is that.
I get it, because I have a daughter that never listens to me. I'm playing, of course.
But yeah,
I don't think
so
I listen to either of my parents, to be honest.
Well, and I totally get that, Sarah, from like trying to do so many things because as you know, he kind of flies by the seat of the pants and might give kind of a high level of like, hey, we're going to talk about this tonight and then we'll, do this or whatever. But then he'll be prepared with asking me something and I don't know that he's going to ask something. And so I'm not prepared that he asked me something. So that's when sometimes you won't get much of an answer from me on something because he thought I would have a bigger answer than I did because I hadn't had the time to prepare my brain.
Early on with Kelly, it used to be, yes. And you're like, I need airtime filled. Like, yes doesn't cut that. Like, come on, give me more.
Well, now I talk too much and he cuts me off. So, there's got to be a middle ground there somewhere, right?
Nah, you could do this on your own.
You heard all that, right? Just kidding.
I didn't say she was getting to do it on her own. So middle of Kansas, growing up there had to be pretty interesting, right? Lots of Wizard of Oz jokes.
Just like it just is where I lived.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I know nothing of your state other than I drove through it once and it was a living hell for
No,
me.
you drove through it twice.
Well, once and
So I will
and on the
tell
way
you
back.
that we have Kansas Day, where we celebrate the day that Kansas became a state.
Mhm.
And every year in history class, we would always watch Wizard of Oz.
Really?
Are you serious?
Yep. Like the week building up to it, we would talk
I would be
about
so
Kansas
sick of that
history.
damn movie.
Like we would build up with like Kansas history before, but then the day up, every single day, every history teacher I had took a pass on it and made us watch Wizard of Oz. So I swear I watched that movie like 12 times.
I bet.
Every year.
On top of what the family watched.
The original
right?
version or the one where it goes into color?
The one that goes into color.
See, I grew up as a kid. It would.
You grew up in the true black and white. All
Yeah.
the time.
No.
We're not all that
I'm not
old.
that. I'm not
Back
that
in
old.
my day,
but-
I didn't have a TV.
No, but for Wizard of Oz, I remember. So this dates me, but I remember like if you wanted to watch that, it only came on TV certain times a year, and it was the black and white version. And it really wasn't at first like when VCRs came out. It wasn't like that. That's the one you got to watch.
I'm 7 years younger than Dave, and we always had the one that had color.
Oh, sorry.
It was black and white at first, and then it went into color.
Yeah. When she get what gets to Kansas. It goes into color. But
When
so,
she's in the Wizard, when she's in Oz.
yeah.
It's
So
color.
automotive wise, what is there to do in Kansas? I know you guys do. I'm amazed at the amount of support you guys get from your Maverick people because you guys took on Maverick. I think it was you and Johnny's Car Care.
You're like
you guys
Maverick Central.
owned the
Yeah.
Maverick content. Like I just gave up. I was like, there's no reason. I know nothing about it. There's no reason. But you guys took it on. And I mean, you got people to show up from all over the world. Well, all over the US to buy Mavericks from you guys. And it's like I said, in Kansas, and Kansas is a straight road to me. That's like my living hell. And I mean that nicely.
No,
Like,
you're
but
good.
there's just nothing.
How
once-
do you mean that nicely?
Once you get past like middle of Kansas, you're like, well, 10 more hours and we're in Colorado. Like,
Yeah.
it's just
I
nothing.
feel like Kansas and Ohio are the same. It's like you go through it, there's nothing.
Whoa, whoa,
100%. You're either in Dayton or Cincinnati. You're nowhere
I will
else.
tell you, we went from
Cedar Point.
here to Pennsylvania, and I will tell you, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois all felt like the exact same state.
I bet they did.
Yeah.
Illinois felt that way when we went and bought Ghost.
Mhm.
Like it did. It felt like
Sorry, Laura.
no, it did. Well, it's funny because when I was right after I graduated college, when we were dating, I
a
actually
sore-
went with it's a
sore subject.
subject because he was jealous I was going with a guy friend of mine, but it was totally platonic, nothing there. But anyway, so I had planned this trip before he and I met, and we went up to Springfield, Illinois, of all places. And I literally just expected everything to be like Chicago because that's what I thought about Illinois. And literally, I saw my first combine and I looked at him, my friend, and I was like, what the hell is that? And
She
said,
called me about this thing. I
did. I was
this.
like, I saw the biggest tractor I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, what was it? And I said, he said it was a combine. And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, I've never seen something that big in my life.
One of my elementary school 8th grade year teachers, he used to in the summer, he used to go farm in Kansas because all the big fields. And he was like, you would start during the day, go a straight line this way. It might be noon. You turn around, go the other way. Like, because the combines were massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
So my
Sorry, we
family is
digress.
actually from Western Kansas. So
Mhm.
I grew up in Slam my entire life, except for the first 2 years of my life in Emporia.
Yeah.
But my family is originally from Western Kansas, which is about halfway from here to Colorado.
Mhm.
So to go visit them is 4 hours of nothing. So we would drive out there, and I would go and stay at my great grandma's farm. It literally is, you go out there and you're running around, chasing the cats, the dogs, climbing trees, climbing silos, hitting golf balls into the trash pit. It's just, that's what you have to do.
Whatever you can fill your time with, essentially.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to watch TV.
Yeah.
So like there was no TV until after dinner time. So like it was literally whatever we could fill our time with. You were outside playing the entire time. Seeing the combines pass, seeing tractors pass, knowing all of that. In fact, I love. If you want to sit with me. Okay, thank you. My favorite, because there's a lot of cattle farming out there too. I got out of the car and my sister goes, "What is that smell?" And my uncle replied, "That's money."
Yeah.
That's him when it comes to smell or what is it? Mulch.
Yeah.
He smells mulch because he used to do landscaping, and he was like, "That just smells like money." And I was like, "That just smells like stink." Like, so I can imagine what you're talking about from that perspective.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, Sarah? I'm sorry. What you're saying though is it's not like what was the Kevin Bacon movie where the town didn't like dancing?
Footloose.
Footloose. So what you're saying was it wasn't like Footloose, where you.
I was like, I want to say like 12 when my grandma passed.
Yeah.
My great grandma passed, and so we stopped going out to the farm at that age. So I don't know what this perspective would have been as a teenager. But I do know that like going out there at the age of 12 and going horseback riding for 4 hours with my cousins was the best thing ever.
Well, it's funny you say that, Sarah, because Dave and I were actually having this conversation this week about West Virginia, because every summer I would go with my dad to our family's place in West Virginia.
Blue Ridge Mountains?
No. It was in the middle of nowhere. Like literally it was 45 minutes from any grocery store, unless it was the mom and pop gas station that was right up the street that kept like necessities. And it was the coolest thing to me to get out and like disconnect from everything. There was nothing that you could do except for go out and pick beans or vegetables for dinner, or go feed the animals, or go do the things that required you to not do anything that had anything to do with technology. Like it was just go outside and figure out something to do.
Well, technology for me was my bicycle. So.
Well, where I was, we didn't have obviously bicycles either, because we were in the hills. So it wasn't like you could ride a bike, but you
go down the hill.
But to your point, I remember those very and I think I was probably about 12 or 13 when my great grandmother passed away, is who we would go visit. Kind of the same idea is like, I don't know what my summers would have looked like had I not had that opportunity. Well, and I only did it once a year for about a week.
Yeah. Well, and on the other side, I had my dad's parents who went camping and hiking, and I went with them. So I would camp and hike with them for like a week or two at a time. And then at home, my mom kept the TV time to a minimum. So it was go outside and play with the dog and go ride our bikes. And my sister and I would literally ride our bikes around the neighborhood until, my mom finally caught us and was like, "Hey, come back home."
Yeah, ours was the lights come on. The lights come on, you better be heading home.
Yeah.
That's what it was for us for the longest time until we moved out.
Yeah.
To Heartland.
Yeah. But as a teenager, there wasn't much to do. You just go over to each other's houses and, binge movies. And like my friend and I always had it. She worked at Papa Murphy's. So she would bring home a pizza or two, and I would go grab the drinks and snacks like soda, Mountain Dews, and candy, go to her house, and we would just spend, until 2 a.m., binging movies and eating snacks and pizza. So
were you the first to have the car then out of your friends?
Yes, actually. I was the oldest out of all my friends because my birthday is September 4th. So I was the oldest of my class. So I had the first car out of everyone. And so then I was driving everyone around.
That's funny because our daughter is in the opposite situation, and she's so jealous already, and she's 14 and a half, and all her friends will be 15 before she is, and that's when you can kind of start driving here. And
Yeah.
so she's like, and I've already told her, I was like, you don't get to just ride with everybody. Like there's going to be stipulations and things like that. Cause we don't live out in the country. Like it's safer to drive and things like that. But it's interesting. So your first car was a Toyota Camry, you said?
It was. Yeah.
Did you drive it like you stole it?
Yeah. My second car was a Ford Escape, a 2012.
Oh.
So the old boxy version.
Oh, I miss those.
Oh my gosh. That was my college car. I took it, and on my way back for spring break, I wrecked it.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Bless.
So
Oh,
that was my favorite car.
My first car was an 85 Buick Skyhawk, and I thought it was a go-kart. Like I would run into me and my buddy would run into each other. It just didn't matter. Yeah, we were awful with, but we were guys. We were stupid guys tearing up stuff.
Yeah, you
Mine
were.
was a 98 Malibu.
Wait, a Chevy?
I come from a Chevy family.
What? Wait, what year was yours?
98.
I had a 2000. No, what did I have? An 02 Malibu. I had an 02. My parents had leased it for me because my first car was, I drove it like I stole it and like ran that poor engine in till it knocked. And,
Right.
Yeah. So
I drove
parents were
mine.
like-
My dad actually let me keep that Camry when I came back from college. That was the in-town car because it was so old.
Yeah.
They're just like, yeah, this shouldn't go out of town. So I drove it until I got married, and he's like, you can have it. So I got to bring that car with me, and then we finally sold it when I was pregnant, and the tech was like, mother to mother, you cannot drive this. Like, you cannot drive this. You are pregnant. You're going to have a baby. You cannot drive this car anymore. It's going to fall apart on you.
So what are you driving now, Sarah?
I drive a 2017 C-Max that my husband had purchased. He traded in his Mustang for it when he was planning to propose.
Aw.
Aw.
Before he proposed, he decided to trade in his Mustang for this really good, it was an FCTP, so $2,000 off with 2,000 miles on it. And it was a really good deal because they were just trying to get rid of it. And it's a hybrid. So that he was just like, it's a really good deal. And then he, in the back of his mind, he's like, it's a good family car. And I plan to ask her to marry me. And we're going to start a family. Before I even said yes.
I was going to say he was planning it all before you even said yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's funny.
But we also have a 01 supercharged Lightning.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
That was our first purchase as a married couple. We bought it a month after we got married. And then he drives a 19 Fusion that we bought straight across from my dad.
Yeah. Nice. I know you guys talk about, I know you've done some stuff with car seats and stuff you talked about in your show, which is a great perspective because it's something your dad can't really talk, your dad's not putting really cars. I guess he could with the grandkids, but it's nice that like you're generational in your all show now of where like your dad there's an audience that likes him. Cause I see it with us. There's an audience that likes me and there's an audience that likes Kelly, mostly Kelly. I'm finding out more and more, but it's kind of interesting of watching you guys of how you've talked about, hey, here's how you would use the car or how dad uses the car. And it's been really interesting. Do you get in a new product now and really go, okay, now I don't just drive now. Now I have to think about these things.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Cause we had a F-150 and I absolutely hated it because of the car seats. Installing car seats in an F-150 is god awful. I don't recommend it. Obviously there's a need there. It's also not fun in a Maverick, just because of where the anchor points are. But yeah, every time I get into a car, I'm like, where are the anchor points? Is it easily accessible? Like my C-Max, the back is open, the back of that seat, and there's only 2 rows. So like there's not a third row to block me from installing my car seats in that second row. So it's super easy to install, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually talked about the anchor points. I don't know if it made it into Final Cut, but when we had the Nissan Z of all things, that it had anchor points in the back seat. Now, granted, who is going to put car seats in the back of a Nissan Z, which really is just supposed to be a 2-seater, but it's a 4 seatbelt car.
Yeah.
But it's funny to me that, we as parents kind of think about those things. And when we were in car seats, we actually just ended up splurging on having a car seat for each vehicle because it was just so much easier to do that.
Did you come and take a picture of my car?
No,
Oh, is that actually the color of your car too?
Yes.
How funny.
Well, I get to Kansas every so often. I like to stalk people.
Oh my Lord.
Yep, that's the 2017 C-Max.
Does it have a name?
No.
No.
Okay. My Maverick was Stitch. The big we had Old Red was our 2022 F-150. Is that Mommy's car? Yep.
Do you and your family name your cars at all? Like, Tim doesn't seem like a guy that's going to name his car.
So my grandma always named her cars, and so I started to. But it was getting to that point where we were switching cars so often that I just stopped.
Yeah.
I
can see that being a challenge.
Yeah. I haven't come up with the right name for the C-Max or the Fusion. Of course, the Lightning is the Lightning.
Yeah. It's got its own built-in name.
It does. It does. It truly does.
C-Max seems just inherently Max. Let me C-Max.
Right? Yeah, I always get that. I'm like, oh yeah, I drive a 2017 C-Max. They're like, what is that? Oh, the hybrid before hybrids were popular.
Well, not a lot of people realize I like that little car because Ford was in a weird period with that one.
Well, I'll be honest. I think this is probably the first time I've seen the C-Max.
You've seen them in town, just never knew what they were.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I absolutely love my C-Max. And someone was like, well, how's that hybrid battery going to happen? And this guy was like, oh, is the hybrid battery actually going to, work? Or is it going to, break down on me? How worried are we about that? I'm like, it's going to be fine. And they're like, what do you drive? A 2017 C-Max. So it's 7 years old and it runs perfectly. I have no idea that it's going, or no thought that it's going to break down on me.
Well, that's reassuring for, what could come down the line and things like that. Is your gas mileage really good on it?
Right now, no, because I blast the heat so the kids don't get cold.
Oh, yep.
But in the summer, when I'm not blasting the air conditioning, I get to about 30.
Nice.
Yeah.
So your dad says to ask you about your kid camera.
So I got an Insta360. It kind of looks like a GoPro when it's in the pod, but then it has a little piece that comes out and can fit on, like you have a little necklace medallion that goes underneath your shirt with a magnet, and the little piece that pops out of the camera goes on there and it can record first person. So I can take it and put it on him and get his point of view of things going on.
Put it on.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
So, yep, I was trying to get at the Sky, our trampoline park, and they're too rough.
Yeah, it kept popping off, I bet.
I've seen those, and I know this sounds weird, but I've seen those in cat videos where they take the little thing and put on their necks, and it's so interesting to see their perspective of things.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I want to put one on Maya.
You should. You absolutely should.
Yeah.
When it snows.
Yes. Especially when it snows.
That thing would be in the snow.
My mom's expedition is Bruno.
Yes.
And we don't talk about Bruno.
Which your dad says has 3 car seats in his expedition.
That's Bruno. Bruno has 3 car seats. 4 if she has the baby.
Yeah.
Because his car seat's his carrier.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Well, so what are your plans for, besides your podcast this year, what are your plans for 25? I mean, do you see you like really not taking over your dad's show, but do you see like you being more, because you are a personality with the channel now, definitely. Do you see yourself like more and more with that, or are you content with where you're at?
So I've done the shorts in the past, and I'm trying to get back into that. It's just hard to come up with topics for those.
That's tough.
because it's like, oh, look at these cars. Look
Yeah.
at these 3 cars. So it's really easy when he's doing a video to go out and be like, hey, look at this car. For more info, go check out his video.
Mhm.
So I think I'll get back into the shorts. Other than that, I think I'm really focused on the podcast this year, especially with, the kiddos and everything. So this one's 5, but the other one's 2.5.
Yeah.
Well, so will you be at Chicago this year for the Chicago Auto
I
Show?
don't think we're going to any of the auto shows unless we're told to by the dealership.
Gotcha.
And they go, hey, there's something going on. Go and get video of it.
Yeah. I was going to say, I know a few women journalists that I would introduce you to up there that you definitely want to talk to. Jill Seminello, if you, I think, would love to talk to you.
Yes.
So podcast, that's your main focus now. Do you got goals for the podcast? I mean, let's see how many subscribers we got now. Let's check it out. We are up to 28. So 28 subscribers now. We started at 15 or 16?
16.
So let's hit 30, everybody. Come on, we can hit 30. What would you say is for your show? I mean, obviously it deals with women in the automotive world. What would be a win-win for you in 25 with the show?
Just to get it out there. Yeah. I'm just doing it to do it, to get my thoughts out there. Because I think it's a topic that's always in my head, that's always on my mind, that I'm always super curious about. And so I'm just doing it to do it, to see where I can get with it. See who I can talk to and interview.
Awesome. Well, we'll definitely poke a couple of our bears in our kind of community and see who we can get on with you and get interviewed. And of course, I know I'm volunteering. Allie will jump on too at some point. I'm sure.
Me and Sarah talked about it like October.
So I've been talking about this since November.
Yeah, I remember you've said something at SEMA. I think you said something about it, maybe.
Yeah, like rumbles of something.
I think maybe because at SEMA is actually where I had the idea. Because I always go to the events and see the photographer, and go, how did they do that? How did they get to that point? And it came up with RTR, the RTR team. We were sitting there interviewing, and I was just like, how did Josh get here? How did these engineers that they have get to this point? And I was like, it'd be really cool to dive into that with women. And so that's where I really truly grasped the concept. And I was like, I can start my own podcast with this. So it's been rumbling since November. And then I finally was like, in December, I was like, okay, I have to have a name.
Yep.
Got to get that pinned down before I can do anything, before I can start interviews. Because I really want to, have an intro and everything when I'm doing my videos. I can't just do interviews willy-nilly.
Sure.
And so I was like, I have to get that nailed down because I want to start this on, the beginning of the year. So I was like I wanted to talk to the lady I'm interviewing tomorrow. I wanted to talk to her about it, be like, what would you think? And she had some stuff going on, so she wasn't in at work. So I talked to some other people, and they're like, oh, it'd be really cool if you could shorten to all-wheel drive, if you could have that acronym. And I took it to our general manager. I was like, okay, so we know we want AWD. What can I put in there? And he's like, well, women, of course, for W. I'm like, yes. But what else? And so it's all women driven. So
that's awesome.
It was kind of cool how we came up with it.
Yeah, that was for All Terrain Nation. I was at one time, this is going to be called the Truck Life Show or channel. And a friend of mine, he goes, well, you call everything Nation. And I've done it for 15 years now and everything we own. He goes, because I was going to focus on just kind of the truck SUV thing, like our friend Tim with Pickup Truck Plus SUV
talk.
And my buddy was like, why don't you just call it All Terrain? He goes, it opens up to everything. And I was like, well, that was so simple, it was stupid. Like, where was I on that?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see where you go. Once again, my fellow dudes in the crowd here, you don't have to, it's not just for women. I mean, I like different perspectives. Politically, me and you a lot of times can be way different perspectives. It makes us, I think, who we are. And I like that. And I like to hear everybody else's, like How did they do it? The interview, your first interview was a rock star interview, like out of the box. That was a good interview, a good get too for your first guest, and very very excited to see where you go. So you're gonna go once a month, maybe, or what's your goal for a release?
Once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Nice.
Yeah. So go from there and see if if I can get more interviews, I might up it to once a week. But at this point, once every 2 weeks is fast enough.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure with your big plate that you have, it's for sure squeezing that in as it is. I'm sure it can be a challenge.
I'm gonna shoot you over a list.
Nice, Scott. Hey, Scott, thank you for, by the way, for
thank you.
that super chat. Yeah, no, definitely. I'm excited to see where it goes. I did tell Kelly, because you told me, or I think maybe your dad told me, and I said something about getting Kelly on there, and Kelly goes, I don't know what I would talk about. And I was like, that's the great thing about this. You never know where conversations go, but you have a story to tell. Allie definitely has a story to tell.
Correct.
Correct.
That is
Here you go, buddy.
One final time, Sarah, where can they find you? Where you broadcasting on?
YouTube and Spotify, all women driven.
Correct.
I'm also on Instagram and Facebook.
Correct.
Well, good. Well, we've got right now, let's see. I think there's 29. Did we get an extra one? We need 30. We got to have one more subscriber to get to 30. That is correct. But Sarah, it's
I'm
always
already subbed.
It's what?
I'm already subbed, I think. Let me double check.
Oh,
Correct.
One drum roll.
Let me make sure.
Oh,
I'm using the old eyes. Can you tell?
Yeah, 'cause you're doing like me now.
I know. Because I haven't been wearing my glasses today, so my eyes are tired. Yeah, I'm already subscribed.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I was about to say, I think I'm subscribed.
but I always crash y'all's channel. I'll just email your dad, or I email your dad like with 10 minutes ago and go, hey, Tim, can you come on the show tonight? And he's always very nice. You guys are awesome. We appreciate everything. Like what the Long McArthur channel has done for us. We greatly appreciate all that. We like returning the favors, whatever we can. Let's get you back on in a couple of months just to see what's going on and see who you've interviewed. And you'll probably be well past what we do. And we'll be looking up to you like, man, why didn't we do like Sarah?
Yeah, for sure.
So as Kelly says, there's no easy way to do this, Sarah.
So thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Uh,
Nice to meet you, Will.
Bye.
Bye, Will.
Oh, man.
Bye.
All right, well, there you guys go. That was Sarah, Long McArthur Ford,
All
Ford
women driven.
Ford video guy, all women driven, and all women driven is all together, by the way.
Yes.
So that makes it the easiest way to find it on YouTube. I really did. I listened to the show. I thought I would peek in it the other day. Tim Papa was very proud, and he posted up, and I thought, well, I'll peek in just see what. By the time I knew I'd finished the episode, I was like,
That's awesome.
that was really good.
Yeah,
So,
I thought it was really good for the first one.
Yeah. Next up, you're Allie. Allie, where's your podcast? Come on, man.
I don't know about that.
She says, I don't know about that. No,
Allie's got too many things
no
going on.
podcast for you, huh?
She's
I
like, oh,
am very good at overcommitting myself.
Oh, you too, huh?
yeah, we know that pain.
Yeah, we are in full fledged
Well,
registration for our softball league, and I'm a commissioner of 2 divisions, and I'm the webmaster. So yeah, I'm covered up on top of work, my day job being end of quarter, end of year, and everything's due by the 15th. So
Everything's fine.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
that's right.
Everything's fine. I only work like 70 hours a week. Run
That's it?
Michigan Bronco Club, which I'm now vice president of that.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I'm literally doing all the same things. I just get credit for it now. Like, super funny. We won't get into that on the air.
Hey, that's progress.
That's for the VIP. That's for the VIP. When you're a member, you get the VIP. I'm playing.
No. Don't wish that. Don't. No.
Right.
We haven't had an alternate after dark in a while.
We
I know.
haven't.
We miss Jordan Parker.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious what
Jordan on
you're
there.
up to.
Yeah.
living it up out in. He's not in Utah anymore?
Is he still in Utah or is he back in Michigan?
No, I think he's in Utah. I think.
He's probably.
I
trying
haven't
break
talked to him in a
ankles, too.
while.
Yeah, last time I talked to him, he vandalized my vehicle. Put Bronco Nation stuff all over
No,
my
I think we've
Ranger.
talked to him since then. I think he's been on the live or something since then.
Maybe.
Yes, because when he vandalized it was at Supercell, and then we've had him on since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of vandalizing, the off-road SUV world.
Yeah.
It's some good news came out today. We're big fan. Now, Allie won't be a fan of this, but we're big fans of this. But I think what it shows is the off-road, the body on frame SUV world is really coming alive. There was the mid 2000s where it was dead. They weren't fuel efficient. It was really the Forerunner, and if you wanted, I think Explorer was body on frame by then. Like there wasn't anything out there. Obviously the Wrangler. That's a weird one to put in this category, but it is a body on frame SUV. Now Bronco, Toyota's come out with the Land Cruiser. That's kind of fun.
Scout's in its way.
Yeah, there's the new Scout. There's now the Forerunner, which the press drives are this month, which we did not get invited to, which I had to get my Toyota's reps about that. Be like, hey, come on, start inviting us. Come on, buddy. You know how many subscribers we have? No,
we have like 200 since the last time we talked.
You don't ever say that to him. But the Nissan Xterra. Now I'm sure Allie doesn't see many of these things up in Michigan because I will say when I drove up in my Honda Element in middle 2000s,
I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I thought
people were going
to kill me. I got all these dirty looks of this little import vehicle riding through Michigan, but they seem to be more accepting now. The last time we were up there, I have seen more and more kind of, we're getting to be a little more diverse.
Yep.
Which is a good thing. But the Nissan Xterra, who me and Kelly, the Xterra is what kind of got me into auto journalism. I was tracking this vehicle. We bought one in the middle. A tornado come through our town. I told Kelly we needed a 4-wheel drive vehicle, and we wanted a boat. We wanted something that could pull a boat. So we bought an Xterra. When a tornado goes through your town, by the way, you just grab. You really don't
hope
have
that you can find something you
decent.
Somewhat like.
Yeah, and we found this little white Xterra. You were like, really? This because it was older looking.
Well, and he was downgrading from a vehicle that was 6 years newer. So that was
the economy was crashing.
Yeah.
So we just had to have some. So fell in love with that vehicle, got into the forums, started getting invited to Nissan things, which was fun. So Kelly had her own Xterra. We started an off-road event for these things. So I do have a love of like the Bronco. We have a love for the community, what's left of it, because it's since 15 they haven't built these.
We're
things.
seeing a lot of friends leaving the vehicle behind because they're older now.
Yeah, this is old tech, man. They built last one was in 15.
Yep.
So it's 10 years old now.
And mine was an 09.
But word is coming out that and I've reported this for the past year now that this was coming back, that the Xterra might be coming back. Now, we all know Nissan's kind of been in the news of like they're failing. Now we got a potential Honda merger, which I think is a good thing for both companies. But potential of an Xterra coming back, I think's nice because I think competition, we say this a lot, competition breeds better vehicles. The Wrangler now is the next generation because Bronco's been kicking its ass. The Wrangler is going to be a way better vehicle now because if you have no competition, you're not pushed to be better. You're just pushed to just kind of trickle innovation.
Yeah, you're not pushed to go, okay, what can we do next? How much further can I push this vehicle?
Right.
How much further can I make this better?
But SUVs cars are dead.
Yeah.
Even sport, like the Mustang, you look at Mustang sales, even though I love that car and it's probably the one that got away that I still cry about.
You cry? You have a heart?
I cried early. I watched the end of
I heard
Parks
you
and Rec.
sniffling.
Dude,
No,
the scene
Office.
Office, the scene at the end where he goes, Jim is my
spoiler alert.
Yeah, Jim is my whatever, and then Pam's my best friend. And dude, it hit me. I was like,
I heard you sniffling.
I know.
out there.
I was like, where the hell did
I was in my
from?
office still working on a spreadsheet, and I heard him.
But because you're like,
on the couch.
when I lost a kid, that makes those. I don't know why it makes those moments hit a little harder. But you're like, oh yeah, the whole show he gave her a lot of shit, but he respected her.
Well,
Anyways.
it's kind of like us. We get the sarcasm with people in general. Like people, if we're sarcastic with you, that means we like you. Like that's just how how
the
ours
only
is.
way I know how to talk.
Right. That's
Right.
our love language is what I like to tell people. And whenever Sydney meets like a new teacher or something or new adult, I always warn them and I say, hey,
A new
sarcasm is
adult.
yeah, I say, hey, sarcasm is her love language, but she can dish it out, but she can't always take it. So if she gets mad at you for something, just know you just have to let her know that it was sarcasm and she'll understand it. So yeah.
But so
Sorry, I
Nissan
digress.
has a very bad timing problem.
Yeah.
They tend to get rid of things right when they're starting to get popular. And the second generation that you see here, Xterra, I know we have a lot of Ford people in here, but this was it was different for its time. It just looked different. The little Mickey Mouse ears were kind of fun. Not everybody liked it, but it was fun.
They also called them the boobs.
Yeah, the little Xterra boobs.
The
But
fuck?
maybe it's just cold out. Maybe they're the nips. You started this.
No, you could have just stayed with what I said.
Anyways,
Keep going.
Anyways, but it was sad to me when they killed it off. Now that you talk about dated tech, but in 15, when this started, you had Ford starting to do the nice screens in the dash and all this, and this still had like knob radios that
Still, I flash back and look at the inside of that and I go, wow, that was
Yeah,
crazy.
we
And
came
I think,
a long way.
didn't we change it out to a touchscreen or we talked about
I did.
we
Remember,
did.
it was awful. It was a Chinese.
Yeah, and it was awful because you couldn't touch touchscreens for less than like $2,000 at the time.
Yeah.
And so we got one for like a couple $100 and
Yeah.
we thought we were the coolest thing ever.
Awful
But it was
Wish or
terrible.
something. It was awful.
Yeah, essentially it was Wish.
But I think this is good for the market in general that Nissan's looking at doing this again. Now, I dropped a video yesterday on this and showed some of the renderings that people do. It was kind of fun. But it is exciting to me that because for like Ford, I really think the Everest is coming in the United States. I think by late fall they drop hints of like, oh look,
I don't know. The Everest has been all over my TikTok page, and it's making me so mad because I want
it's
Because you want it.
it's a great looking SUV, man. As is, it's just a great looking SUV.
I was on Australia's site 2 nights ago, and I tagged Mike Levine in like 2 of them, and he liked them. I'm like, is that a sign? I'm like, should I look into this further?
Well, Mike had been showing on his Insta. I think he likes to hint where they're going.
He was
at
teasing
times.
like crazy on it.
But I think it's good for this. It maybe if Nissan does this, Ford takes that market more seriously. Forerunner dominates anything in sales, but Toyota's got a bad name right now. They're having some engine problems and some transmission problems. So there's all these markets are starting to open up for other brands to jump back into this. And with the potential of an Xterra coming out there, that's exciting me because Nissan right now just does kind of boring. And they don't do boring well anymore, it seems like. I don't like the new lineup of SUVs. The new Murano.
I don't know. I like the Armada.
Well, the new Armada is great, but the weird futuristic things they're doing with their small SUVs is just awful to me. But rugged, true SUVs. Now, I see in the comments, and I see this in Bronco too, like Gen 1 Bronco guys or old Bronco guys do not like the Gen 6. Too much tech. I just want a manual transfer case, and that's never going to happen. But if they did a more simple vehicle, because the Xterra start out everything you need, nothing you don't.
Want. Or, yeah, nothing you
nothing
don't.
you want.
Nothing you
That's
want.
Nissan in general. That's the Nissan slogan.
My Tito's.
That's a credit score of 500.
My Tito's jumped in.
Yeah, the credit score of 500 for Nissan. Everything you need, nothing you want.
This is when Tito's enters the conversation.
Yes. All right.
Sorry.
But I'm excited for this. Just hearing the name again, what does that do for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's exciting to me because this is where we came from.
Mhm.
Like this is where, this whole kind of thing was born.
Mhm.
Kind of the gateway of feeling a true community inclusivity. So I'm excited about it. I'm just afraid that they won't come out of the gates swinging. That's the concern I have, because they do have a tendency to, I love you, Nissan, but you have a tendency to play it safe.
Yes.
And I
Too safe.
And I don't feel like if they come out playing it safe that this is going to be a hit, and it needs to be a hit for them to hit the ground running with it, to compete with what's in the market. So I have to see it more rugged. I have to see bigger than 32-inch tires on it that was on the last gen.
Yeah.
I have to see 35s coming out of the factory for it.
And they have to look like tires that belong
100%
off-road. Where you see this is a Pro 4X right here. This was their most off-road trim. You got a rear locker in it. You got these awful rugged trail BF Goodrich tires, and I'm a BF Goodrich fan.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't get 20,000 miles out of these tires. They were dead. But
and the first thing you had to do was take the take the step rails off and
all the mud flaps and all this crap
because
off.
otherwise it was all going to rip off.
Everything you need, everything you leave on the trails.
Yeah.
But it is fun to me. The idea that this market is really starting to, the off-road market is really starting to, there's money there.
Yeah.
And manufacturers see there's money in this stuff. Everybody saw what Wrangler did, but nobody had the balls till Ford got into it to go, hey, I'm going to challenge that. And I think that's, once again, it's good for both. The next Wrangler will make the next Bronco even better. Like, it's good for us buyers.
You're going to see actual competition.
Yeah. So in the full body vehicles like this, I mean, 4Runners had no competition. And really, when we got to get in the new 4Runner, it shows that they really know that there's no competition. It looks just like the truck. Nothing about that really, other than the outside design, makes it look that unique. And really, the outside design's not that unique.
Full transparency, though, I liked the refresh. I don't think it stood out amongst what's out there right now too much, but I do like the refresh on it.
So Nissan definitely is going to have to take a chance with this. But what the news about this is they just recently applied for the patent of the Xterra name again.
Mm-hmm.
So originally the Xterra was a race. It was like a triathlon race. Nissan, for some reason, leased the name back in the day. And then in 2003, they got the rights to it somehow. But so they reapplied for this patent. So they have it till 27. It must have been some short.
Oh, was it only 27?
I think it's just a short.
Well, then I guess Nissan and Honda better jump in bed real quick and make an Xterra.
Yeah. But so Bronco has a build partner in Ranger. This is how the automotive industry works. You need build partners, Explorer and all this. They have build partners with it, whether it be with Lincoln or whatever. Frontier right now has no build partner. That used to be back in when I worked for Nissan, the build partner was Frontier, was everything based on Frontier.
Back in my day.
Yeah. Then you had the Pathfinder, and then you had the Xterra. You had 3 things built on the same platform. So Nissan needs this. Sales for Frontier were not great last year overall, 57,000, which was the year before they were killing it. So interest rates, I think, really hurt that as well.
I think interest rates hit everybody across the board, but I think companies like Nissan unfortunately got hit harder than others because they're not standing out. They're not stepping out of that comfort zone. They're trying new things with some of these specialized trims on like Frontier and things like that. But I think they're hitting them, or they're missing the mark on what the market is really wanting. And so I come back to it. I think they really have to hit it out of the park for this one to be successful. And I really hope that it is, because I would love to see a new Xterra back on the streets. Yeah. I might own one if it was done right. Yeah. Just because I loved mine.
Allie, for these style SUVs, these kind of rugged SUVs, I mean, do you think they almost have to be like a hybrid anymore? Fuel economy is everything in vehicles now. If we don't want EVs,
I think everything is going to end up going to a hybrid
at some point. Yeah.
But I think this year we see it in the Ranger. I think you get to see their power boost version of it. Hopefully it's not a true plug-in. I know in Europe they're doing a plug-in hybrid, but hopefully the US version in Europe they are.
Well, I'm saying like
here in the States. Here I hope they just do a power boost. But and when they do
our F-150 power boost is actually doing really well. Mm-hmm. Granted, it's having some issues, but you're going to when you build these things in bulk. So
yeah.
But I think like this, I said in my video, Kelly, I think they at some point the Frontier goes Turbo 4. Unfortunately, V6s are dying. But you put like a Turbo 4 in this with a little hybrid setup, much like what Toyota's doing. Mm-hmm. Use the hybrid for power, which helps in fuel economy a little bit. I can see, and then you get that stadium seating again, which the Xterra is known for, that little bump out, where Toyota, the Land Cruiser and the 4Runner don't have that. So in the cargo space where you put the battery pack, you lose about 3 or 4 inches of that. The Xterra with their
built-in already.
There's a lot of potential to this, but between this, I want to see the Everest come out, new 4Runner. I'm curious to see what sales are. I'm excited for this segment. I
think if Ford brings Everest, it'll actually give 4Runner a run for their money.
Yep, I would agree.
And then you got Chevrolet over there going, nobody wants our electrics? What's going on?
Nobody wants our Blazer? Yeah.
Yeah, we ruined the Blazer name.
Agreed. It's like Unbridled Bronco said, bring back the Jimmy.
Like, the thing is, I'm super disappointed that Chevy did what they did with the Blazer because everyone knew Bronco was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you didn't, I'm sorry, you live under a rock.
Yeah, well,
Like,
we saw the Blazer at SEMA in 21. Was it 21?
Yeah,
I think it was. And we were just like, really? This is what you're coming out of the gate with? Like,
they came out with another Equinox Terrain.
the only thing I will say for General Motors is they're profitable. They don't give a shit what other people. They just seem to stay in their lane.
well, maybe their market is different. Maybe their segment of the market is in the safety space because, I mean, obviously my parents are retirees of General Motors, so they're not going to own anything but a a GM vehicle. But there are features that they like cross the board. Like, it's just like they like what they like, and that is what it is. And I think that's sometimes what your GMC, Chevy, owners are saying, I don't need anything that's crazy because it's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I mean, all these manufacturers, we're going to see, we got a new administration coming in. Normally for manufacturers, when you have double, like 8 years of a president, no matter what side, you kind of can plan. Right now, it's been a clusterfuck for these guys of like, you had Trump, they were trying to pivot a little bit into EV. Then you get Biden in, which is very pro EV, pro that stuff. So they're like, okay, we can really focus in on that. The market hasn't shown that it's ready for that just yet.
Yeah,
now you've got Trump coming back in.
The thing is, they are pro it, but they're not cramming it down our throats.
Right, right. But
we're not going to name names, but now you have Trudeau or whatever his name is up in Canada. He just said his like he's stepping down. So it's like now you have change, not only in the US, but now you have change up in Canada. And we ship stuff all the time. So I think it's going to get very interesting in the next couple of months.
But for the manufacturers, though, to my point is they now have had what is that, like 12 years of like chaos. They don't know
not sure
where policy is going to take them to kind of push them in a direction. So the next couple of years, I'm curious to see where do they go into? Okay, because I will say we've had the party of dreamers, which there's nothing wrong with that. People that want the world to be better. Maybe it's not always practical. And then you had the more I don't know, the parents that are too hardcore sometimes, and maybe we're seeing the world like these off-road, these gas guzzlers a little bit, and we're seeing, hey, maybe that's what the auto industry wants again. And of course, now you got California as well, and the 12 other states that are like, nope, in 2030 EVs are the only thing to be sold here.
I think it's 2035.
2030 for these. That's for the states. That's not for the federal.
Oh.
So we're in a weird world for cars of just, I don't know what the hell's coming. I'm excited though to cover it. I think it's going to be fun. I don't think everybody's going to always be happy. Either political side of the party is never. I think
it's going to be a lot of changes. But
yeah, and I think we'll see. What Ford does. Usually, the rest of the manufacturers kind of follow along. I did say GM's in their lone lane, but GM's losing a shit ton of money on EVs right now. I mean, a lot of it. The Silverado EV has been a disaster. They can't build enough of them. We ordered one at one time or had a reservation on it, canceled that because 3 or 4 years later
they're having issues building these things. Weird,
right? Because the Hummer situation was the Hummer was in the same situation.
Yeah,
Hummer's still in the same situation.
I don't know that they built 20,000 Hummers, and that's crazy. In 3 years later.
I saw the ugliest orange one on 96 the other day.
I have to say,
I almost puked.
I do have to say, Dave doesn't understand it, but I really want to drive a Hummer in the crab walk. I want to drive one, but that's as far as that will ever go.
And hey, speaking of that, Esterthal has one for a press vehicle.
Not anymore. He dropped it off the airport.
No, but that's what I was going to say is he tried to go from his town in Nebraska to Denver where he had to fly out of, and it's supposedly 400 miles of range. I don't think he got 100 miles where he had to.
Yeah, so he was expecting 250. Yeah, or something along the lines of that when he started, and he ended up having
like 100,
only about 100 and some odd, or only 100 and some odd miles of range. So he had to stop and gas up.
Well, our buddies over at TFL, they bought a brand new Volkswagen Buzz. They bought it in Pennsylvania. They were going to road trip it to Chicago. Dude, it was like every 45 minutes, it felt like they had to stop.
I'm not gonna lie, there was a lady today in a Tesla who was probably like, we were open from 9 to 8 tonight. I left at 5. She came in at 11 and she was still charging her car.
Do you have a slow charge?
We have all 3.
I was going to say they're required to have a certain level.
Yeah, we have. Don't worry, we bought into everything and got screwed, so that was fun. Thank you, Ford.
Does Alcione have? I'm assuming Laura has. They sell some EVs. I think she.
Oh, you don't have to. Yeah, but you don't have to like buy into it anymore. So like, there was like different tiers. Oh yeah.
Well, I want to. Valley Dude was asking about the Nissan, Mitsubishi, Honda news. Not a lot of news to talk about right now. I could never get I started doing a video on that and just could never get what I wanted to say.
The storyline. Yeah,
out. And then by then everybody was talking about it. But I think Valley Dude, I think it's a good thing for both companies. Mitsubishi as well, but Mitsubishi's tied to Nissan, so wherever Nissan goes, they're going to go. Nissan clearly gets all the bad press. The CVTs for 20 years have just given that company a bad name. They build a good car, but Honda's like in a bad position too, and nobody talks about it. Honda's tried everybody but Nissan to get somebody to kind of play along with them.
Jump in.
They were going to do a car with General Motors and them backed away from each other. But Honda's not in a great position either. Whether they still financially are probably solid, but they needed a partner. And I said 2 years ago, I said Honda and Nissan will merge. And people gave me such hell for this in the comments on that video of like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, they're the two lone dogs left. And all the Nissan or all the Japanese brands, they want to stick together the best they can.
Yeah, because the cultures are
they don't want outside influence. So it made sense for that. But we'll see. I think we'll know more in about 4 months or so about what's going to happen there. I'm worried about job cuts. They both have, I think I counted I think Nissan has 3 plants here. Honda has like 4 plants here, plus another engine plant.
I was going to say, would they be...
They'll cross-pollinate.
No, I was thinking, could the FTC limit them because of their...
No, they're not.
They're not big enough.
There's no monopoly.
Even there. Combining together, they wouldn't.
Like I said, though, neither one of them have union shops. So at any drop of a hat, they want to kill off jobs. They can do that pretty easily. But they build cars in Ohio, Indiana, Nissan's here in Tennessee, Mississippi. I think Honda has a plant in North Carolina or South Carolina as well. But it's going to be interesting because they're going to be job cuts. That's how these companies are going to merge. Honda's taking on a shit ton of debt with Nissan. So they're going to have to get back in the black real quick to make this work. So we'll see with that. But no news is good news for that right now. Once again, by summer 26 is when that deal is supposed to be done. So we'll know more in a few months. But all my people that work, my people that I know out in Nissan plant here in Smyrna, Tennessee are nervous about what's going to happen. But we'll see. So, Allie, you got anything else you want to talk about? Anything good out there? Supercells. We got to get Tom on here very soon.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys after we got off if we want to have Tom on next week.
Oh.
Because
you have news coming up, don't you, guys?
I do. I'm being careful of what I say right now.
Right. No, I know. But you've already announced that there's going to be some news coming.
Yeah. On the 15th. I want to just make sure I have it right before I say anything because
sure.
I don't want to mess it up. But the 15th, Supercell opens up for registration.
Nice. Yeah, reach out to Tom, see if next week we can get Tom on the old show for next Monday. Okay. Maybe we can get Tom to break some news. It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. Winter's here in Middle Tennessee, which sucks for me. I've got these off-road lights and stuff. There's a lot we got to put on the Bronco.
That's the thing. I've done nothing to my new Bronco. Oh, Bucky found its new home today.
Oh, really?
Do you know the home?
I do not, but it's my old assistant's coworker.
Oh, well, there you go. So that's at least.
And she's also kind of mad because she didn't know she was looking for a Bronco. She had like came on her lunch break and like test drove it, and she like test drove it back to her work, and she's like, I know that Bronco, and she's like, oh yeah, it's like at Brighton Ford. Like, did you look at it? She goes, no, like the person I worked for was like obsessed, and she's like, that was her Bronco. So very cool. Very glad it went to a new home. Kind of sad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that.
So yeah.
Have you named the new one the comments section has asked?
No, it's still the horse with no name. It
The horse
might be
with no name?
that. I don't know.
I get it. So
Um,
let me ask, do you run into the same problem that I did with Ghost? Was like, it's very similar, yet it's upgraded, but it's not different enough for you to figure out a new name? Is that the challenge you're running into?
oh, I've never named cars before.
Oh, so
So,
Bucky
like,
was new to you.
Bucky was the first one.
Mm.
And I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
I put on pod lights. I have some stuff for my AG I still need to put on, and then life happened, and
Yeah.
now it's January and Supercell's in 4 months.
Here's the thing, though. You've got bays. You've got people that you can tap on the shoulder and say, like, hey, go put this shit on for me.
Right.
You got
I
nice dry
can, but
areas.
it has to be after work hours, and I know how I feel when I'm like, I want to be done. Actually, Kyle, like our shop foreman, has helped me like literally every time I needed anything on my Bronco, whether it be
two-wheel
like
drive?
I was thinking the same thing. Get out of my head.
Like Bronco takeover, I needed lights put on. He helped me twice before Supercell before. Like, he's always kind of dropped everything to help me. So I like feel bad for asking, but I still have to put everything.
I get it. Valley Dude 5000 also asked, is softball coming in the spring? Yes. So
a little slower for us this year. I
yes.
think. Our daughter's on a high-end travel team now. We're not doing anything at our local park. I'm still umpire. You're still a board member over there. We'll work.
She'll work
there.
the concession stand, things like that. But she's got high school ball, which will kick in about February. So we will start having games in February and March, and then travel will kick in about May for her. So then it'll be May through July, heavy, and then she may have to have surgery after the summer season is over.
Yeah, she's injured. Alciani Ford better bring the Heritage Bronco this year if they come to Supercell East.
There's like 4 miles on it right now. So
I know.
Now she texted us the other day. The other day. This is like a couple weeks ago now. It's been a long couple of weeks. She said there was like 90 something, I think, on it. I'm like, will you bust that thing out and just drive the fucking thing already?
Right.
There was 90 on our Raptor.
Yeah, there was like 87 or 90 miles on our Raptor when we picked it up. So she put more miles on our truck than she did our own.
I feel like
just trailer it down, Laura.
Yeah.
Dude, for real. I feel like Lot Rot is gonna take place in her garage.
You might end up with mice living in it and all sorts of things if you don't drive it. Trust me. I've seen a lot of those posts lately. I don't know if there's something that's specific.
I'm sorry. There's almost 100 miles on it.
Sorry.
My bad.
So I don't know if there's something. I don't know if you've noticed this, Allie, or if you've heard more of this, or maybe it's just because I'm in that group that we don't like to talk about.
I hate that group.
But there is a lot of talk of mice and rodents and things in the engine bays eating electrical and things like that. Do you hear that?
I don't see it a ton at my store.
No.
And it's like weird because I'm not in the city. I'm around a lot of like farmland. So it's like you feel like being in open spaces.
See it.
Like you would see it more. I do know. I mean, people will roast me when I say this wrong. I know some of our stuff is made out of something soy.
Yeah, so more
What is
organic.
happening?
Dave's messing with things.
Like, I know I'm on cold medicine, but shit.
No, it's totally Dave. It's totally
Um,
Dave. And I'm going to be on cold medicine here and shortly too, so I understand.
I know someone said that it looks like I like had a nice gummy or something. I'm like, no, it's just a lot of cold meds, and I'm shivering again. So
Oh, bless.
But it's
Something more organic. So it's encouraging.
So like I think it's like I don't want to say like an attractant, but it's like not deterring them either.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Most
also I don't want to say my opinion of that group.
Most of the wiring is based out of soy products now.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so it's just like it's just a magnet.
It's going to happen.
Well, it's been very interesting because there's been a lot of it lately in that group.
I know there's also been a lot of.
Yeah. There's also been a lot of busted windows lately. Have you noticed that too in that group?
Yeah, because I think people are just stupid. And I think people are just like yanking the door and not letting it drop.
I will say though, our Raptor has a window issue already. I've reset it like 4 times and it keeps doing that thing where it won't come down.
Leonard, get out of here.
What are you saying? Laura sold a faulty Raptor?
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying the Bronco in general is like the window situation. Like I've reprogrammed it like 4 or 5 times and it keeps doing the thing.
Yeah. Oh, Supercell, we have patches that we'll have at Supercell this year.
Yes.
So we'll
You jumped on the patch game?
Not of our Bronco though yet, because we haven't decided what we're gonna do design wise to the Bronco.
You have 2 months.
I know.
Yeah, but what I need to do is about $5,000.
That is true.
So wrapping's not
tell
cheap.
them what you're doing and then be like, this is to come.
Yeah.
But then we can't release it to everybody because everybody will know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But then it could be pre-marketed. I might be able to make that happen. I'll be able to come.
I don't care. I still need artwork. I still need to get my patches. I still need anything. So anyone who gets a patch from me probably is getting
Bucky.
A Bucky original.
An OG.
Hey, they're expensive.
Well, then I don't need another one because I have one.
Well, I'll probably still get some done. I think I have like 10 left.
Oh, so you don't have many.
Bucky was the first one, I think, in our Raptor.
Yeah.
It was, and it's a first in a couple of my customers' Raptors that are
Broncos
that they don't know about.
Sorry, I autographed me and Kelly autographed Rebecca.
Put it up there.
And it took Laura forever.
Yeah, it was driving Laura crazy because I told her, I said we've done something special to this, and she looked forever. She ended up finding it, but
yeah.
Did I ever show you guys the container I have for stickers to
Oh yeah, yeah, because you were doing your poster board or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaking nuts.
I have to redesign it. I have to reorganize us. Yeah, I might have to do something like that. Is that where'd you get, is that one from Joanne Fabrics or something? Is that like the picture organization thing?
It is.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I might have to upgrade us to what she's got, Dave.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me show you my stockpile. Hold on, I'll be right back.
What are we measuring here? This has turned into a dude contest?
No.
Yeah, kind of. Hold on.
Do your thing. So what hers is that she showed us, it has 3x5 containers in it, and they're each different thing or each different color, so that way you keep it organized. So yeah, I'm gonna have to upgrade to what Allie has.
Yeah, the organization is not for me.
He doesn't like organization.
That's right.
But he likes it when he's going to look for something. He just doesn't like to follow the organization.
I have my own organization going on.
Says the lack of organization in your toolbox in the garage that drives me batshit crazy.
It's you guys.
So
no,
I love
me.
Everything that people send me. I literally keep all of it.
That's awesome.
Mobile.
Yeah. Basically. Like
today on the show.
Little keychains.
It's like a goodie box.
Broncos of Texas. I have some more Maya ones. I got colorful ones. These are all the shit I gotta organize and like put on posters.
Yeah, so we started stickering our Set Power refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah, because I wonder, I am curious. Laura, did you guys leave the stickers on the hatch on the rear door? I'm curious, did they stick around for
Yeah, I'd be curious to know too.
if they're on there now. But yeah, we're not gonna do that with the
I
bracket.
left the stickers on mine.
Yeah. But we're using our Set Power. Oh, and we had the Set Power video we just dropped.
Did you just drop it?
Yeah, it's been dropped.
Okay.
New Set Power, gigantic Set Power. Refrigerator.
Massive.
Ooh, I forgot. I just got this patch. Look at how cool this is.
Well, it is
Well, that
cool.
is cool.
Like, hold on.
Who's that from?
A Michigan Bronco Club guy. I think. Yeah.
So have you ever seen how they make those?
Like,
The rubberized thing?
That's
it's a
cool.
Sasquatch.
So they have eyedroppers of that, all that. They do all that by hand, every patch.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So when it's expensive, we know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For real.
Go less is more.
Yeah.
Don't go wild.
Laura, I will send you a link. And Andy came in the chat. I never got a chance to say hello.
Hi, Andy.
He was causing trouble in the chat earlier, as always.
Producer Andy.
Yeah.
I saw that. Ooh, I have like a whole other one down here too.
Honest. Please teach Allie the art of honey and good bourbon. I don't think Allie's a bourbon girl. Allie doesn't drink much, so.
No.
It's very rare.
Hauling ass.
That's funny.
I'm not allowed to show that. Are we gonna get canceled now?
Dave already said the F-bomb a little bit ago, so I think it'll be fine.
I think I've said it a few times tonight.
Oh, also,
maybe horns holding up your halo, Andy. That's
Yeah.
all I'm gonna say.
Patreon guys, if you guys would like to support the channel, Patreon is a good way to do it. Patreon,
You know this guy.
Patreon
Video
members,
guy.
Kelly, they got to see what's in our living room right now.
They did. They actually got to see some behind the scenes of what was going on while we were doing the Set Power stuff and everything as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
I
Do
have so
that.
much shit.
Let me find that real quick. Yeah, I'll show this real quick. We'll wrap up on Patreon.
I'm taking a trip down memory lane.
We see that. So this was me and Kelly trying to film a refrigerator, a car refrigerator, in because it was cold as hell and rainy, and I'm like, I got to get this video out. But you can see our stickers on our older one.
So our living room turned into our second studio.
Well, that's the bar technically.
Nice.
But yeah, so Patreon gets a little bit of behind the scenes. I did a nice write up on what's in my in the
other thing that's in the
yeah,
living room.
living
Well, the
room.
other things that are in the living room.
Oh boy.
And so if you ever want, I recommend Patreon if you ever want to do support with us. That's probably not the right way to do it. I don't know if it's going to link it right or not. And if you're doing anything on here for members, just do the like we were doing
Right there.
tonight.
That's the link. Short
This-
one. Yep.
Do like you did tonight. Just donate if you want to donate money. Just donate for memberships. I think it's fun. People get to see the behind the scenes. We do a little special on YouTube as well. So that is that.
Yeah.
And Allie's delusional. She's got her cough medicine in there. She's just tripping balls going through her patches now.
They're stickers.
Geez, you said everything everybody sent to you. So I saw a sticker. There's sticker, patches, all sorts of stuff.
Koozies.
All the things.
All the things.
All the things. So, Kelly, whether it be two-wheel drive
4-wheel drive.
or whatever you drive, Spin Your All-Terrain Nation
Bronco.
podcast brought to you by, we're going to say brought to you by Lowe's this week. 'Cause
Yeah.
Lowe's has something they did with us. And
Yeah,
it's
there's
coming
a
up pretty
cool
soon.
there's a cool video coming up with Lowe's.
So we're out. Peace, everybody. See y'all next week. Hopefully Tom with Bronco Supercell will be in house.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Awesome.
stay tuned.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.